Hi, my name's Arlene Evans. I'm the content producer for WPPI, Rangefinder, and Photo Plus, long title. And I'm here to talk with Hiram Trillo, who is part of we're all in this together. And Hiram is the COO of Geekoto. He's also a wedding photographer in the Fort Worth, Texas area. And he and his company have done something very unique that I would love to have him talk about so that you can see what's been going on in the photo community and how everybody's been giving back. So, hi, Hiram. And welcome. Thanks for talking with me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Let's start with the basic idea of what happened and how you came up with this idea.
Okay. So the basic idea was we wanted to make sure that we could do what we could to help our community. And when I say community, not just the photography community, but mainly, the true heroes of what's happening now, which is the front line with our healthcare workers. So the whole idea was to try to see where we could do the best help, I guess. So we decided to use the marketing money that we had set aside to get PPE for them. So we have N95 masks and surgical masks that we purchased to distribute to our local hospitals here in the Dallas Fort Worth area. But a big part of it is going to New York because, as we know, that's kind of like our epicenter here. And we knew we placed a couple of calls and found out, about hospitals that were in desperate need, and we're sending the masks there. And like I said, for no other reason than just we wanted to see, what we could do to help, and that was the main thing. So we're splitting it between that and our local hospitals, as well as we want to distribute some to our photo community with families who might have like autoimmune deficiency and that don't have access because they are pretty scarce. And we want to make sure that we help them as much as we can as well.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit about how this came about, since your business is based in China, how the connection came in with the masks?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've obviously, we're headquartered in Grand Prairie, but our factory is in China.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been dealing with the coronavirus for the past, 5 months. We're based out of Shenzhen. So as you know, everybody, China was shut down for a couple of months. Things are now kind of recovering. So when we started getting, the same thing here in the U.S., and there was a lack of these items, then we decided, we approached a factory that supplies a lot of those medical items to the U.S. That is based out of Shenzhen as well, and we work with them to buy some of these masks to be able to, because they're pretty scarce. That's the biggest problem was they're pretty scarce. But we were lucky enough that we were able to get some of this. And since we were there in person, we could actually just pick them up and then try to get them here.
That's great. Well, tell us about the process, because I know it wasn't easy to get 20,000 masks to the U.S. from China.
Yeah. So that was a whole. I mean, it was a journey. It was definitely a journey. The biggest thing is, since a lot of these factories are currently producing a lot, for the Chinese government, and also, to distribute through Europe and stuff like that. Well, they're kind of, they're made, and as soon as they're kind of made, they're shipped out. So
Mhm.
there's not much extra to come about. But fortunately, these guys were very, very nice to us, and they basically, when there was an order that would come in, they would make extra for us to be able to kind of get some,
Mhm.
and they would put them out aside till they fulfilled the order of the 20,000, which originally we wanted to get more, but the price of the mask kind of went up quite a bit, and I mean, we with the funds that we had set aside, it didn't go as far as we wanted to, but we ended up with 20,000 of the masks.
That's a
But
lot of
yeah,
masks.
it is. It's 20,000 more than we had before, so
Right.
that's definitely it. Um, so once we got all of that, then we had to start on the journey of getting them out of China.
Mhm.
um, and a lot of the flights were canceled. A lot of flights, not very many things are leaving China. Everything's pretty shut down. So we had to work around as 1 week turned into 2 weeks, then 2 weeks turned into 3 weeks, and then finally we got them, last week, which was close to a month,
Wow.
that we had been trying to get them in, and we just had to basically ship them to different areas and to make sure that we got them in. um, and finally they arrived. Everything was here, which was fantastic. We sent the majority of them to here, and then which we're going to distribute to, like I said, New York. But part of it we did send to LA, which is something that I had mentioned
Oh,
before. We did
yeah.
send some to LA directly. We had some photographers there that did an amazing job at distributing them at the local hospitals, or a local hospital, if I'm not mistaken,
Oh,
um,
that's great. So
in
how
the
did
LA
you
area.
make your connections in New York?
The connection in New York, was I contacted photographers, and we ended up with a somebody who's part of the industry, or he was a retired photographer, and they actually, their wife is one of the RN nurse, or one of the nurses in I think it's in the Bronx, the hospital where we're sending the stuff, and they were just very desperate in desperate
Mhm.
need of a
Wow.
lot of this stuff. Yeah, so again, we could have not done it without the photo community, because when I kind of sent out messages, to the New York area photographers, they just moved along, and I was like, I just need somebody that we can send it to, because unfortunately, the way things are going now, we couldn't send it directly to a hospital, because
Oh.
we didn't know if they were going to make it. It's unfortunate to
Oh.
say that, you know, um, because the way things are going right now, things have been getting lost. Things have been not being distributed correctly. Um, and I hate saying, because I'm not in a position to say why this is happening, or how is it
Mhm.
happening, or if it's even happening. Again,
Right.
it's a hearsay type of thing, so I don't know.
Mhm.
But I wanted to make sure that whatever we did, we could send it to someone that we could trust, that would, you know, basically distribute it as best as possible to the people that needed to be
Wow. That's
distributed.
great. That's
So
great. Thanks to the photo community. I mean,
absolutely,
everybody
absolutely.
sticks together through this.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why we also wanted to make sure that, here locally we are distributing. There was two families who, they're photographers. One of the childs is going through chemotherapy, so
Mhm.
we're just, making sure that they have enough supply for a month, of the masks,
Oh, that's great.
and as well as the other family. But we want to make sure that we also, if there are other families out there, we're keeping a few masks that we can distribute that, and then the rest of them are like I said, are going to go to local hospitals. We contacted Ronald McDonald House here locally to try to distribute. Obviously, we know that children, it's the ones that we need to protect as much as possible. And our older folk as well. So we want to
Right.
make sure that we make them count.
So you
That's
had a
important.
connection in the Fort Worth area hospital in order to be
Yes,
able to get
yeah,
them
yeah,
directly in?
and that was a lot easier just because we have our pediatrician. She works for Baylor Hospitals, and then we know some people at JPS as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we and then like I said, we mentioned we called Ronald McDonald's house to get some of that uh,
Wow.
distributed, and get some information to see where they would best fit. We contacted the Fort Worth, Grand Prairie, and police department
Oh,
to
great.
see if they had any need for them. So we sent some to them as well. They were very nice about saying, about how many they needed. They didn't want to take any more because they knew that others
Mm-hmm.
might need it as well. So it's been a fantastic. One of the things that I've seen throughout this has been the fact that nobody has, send them all to me, or
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like, whatever you can spare, and the people that don't need them or they have enough, they're willing to say that to make sure that others, would get it. So it's been a very, very pleasant experience.
Uh-huh. Very
You know,
uplifting
yeah,
because,
very uplifting because
yeah,
because of the fact that people are not just being greedy. So
that's
it's great to
wonderful to
see.
hear. And are
Absolutely.
you mailing all of these by yourself to New
Yeah,
York and
well,
LA?
yes, yeah. So obviously, we're non-essential, which as it should be. So yeah, I come here into the into the office. But I do have, the rest of the crew. They're working from home, and they're the ones that are receiving the emails. They're the ones that are passing those, so on to me with addresses and all that stuff. So everybody's doing their part. We're just doing it, you know, and at a distance. Uh,
A
and then
big
I come
distance.
I come here at the to the office and get everything kind of boxed up and on its way.
Well, that's great. And it's great that your boss in China has been so
Yes.
supportive of helping people in the US.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things, and one of the things that I have to say is I'm I've been with Geekoto for about 6 months now, and it made me proud to have said yes to the position that I'm currently in, because they didn't Jim, which is his name, he didn't think twice about it. Once we kind of proposed the idea, he was like, let's do it. He knew that the money that we had set aside, that was going to go towards the marketing part of it. What marketing are we going to do now?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, so that needed to go to somewhere that it would count. And again, we wanted, this is not for anything else, that we want to make sure that you know that people know that we're here to help as much as we can. It's not a publicity stunt, and I don't want it to come across that way whatsoever. I just, we just want to make sure. So, but I do have to give credit to my boss, and Geekoto, because they were the ones that were willing to, like I said, they didn't bat an eye. They just jumped on it and said yes to it. So now we're here, and now we're doing our best to try to get them into the right hands.
Well, I have to tell everyone that Hiram wasn't sure he even wanted to do this podcast because he didn't want it to seem like a publicity stunt. And so I'm very appreciative of the fact that you came on to talk about it anyways, because I think at this point it's about how the world is banding together, and it's not
Absolutely.
about, individual companies or even individuals in the business world. I mean, we have our heroes out there, the medical professionals and the
Oh,
people working in the
absolutely.
grocery stores and everything, but you can take some credit for helping everybody as well, because masks are so important in this crisis that we're
Oh,
in.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that again, that everybody, once this is over, if you see, our military personnel, obviously. But if you see, a nurse, if you see a doctor, I mean, they are the ones that are in the line of fire right now.
Right.
They're the ones that are taking this like head on, and scrubs are the new superhero,
Yeah.
outfit right now. That's
That's a great way
yeah,
to put it.
yeah.
I've never heard that, but that's a
So
really
it's
nice
definitely,
way to put it.
yeah. I mean, I've been in touch, like you mentioned, I'm a wedding photographer, and I've had a lot of my clients that are doctors and nurses, and I've been checking up on them. So, if you have clients that that are doctors, that are nurses, check on them. Send an email, send a text, say thank you,
Mm,
for
that's a
what
great idea.
they're doing. You have no idea how many amazing, just texts I've gotten back. And I had a couple of phone calls, in their spare time, which is not much that they have,
No.
that, that just to say, thank you
Wow.
for the support. Thank you and they need it. They really, really, really need it right now.
Oh,
Um,
that is such
so
a wonderful idea because wedding photographers develop such a bond
yeah,
with their clients that they become more than clients.
yeah,
They become your friends. And
absolutely.
so that's more of a reason than ever to check up on them to make sure they're staying healthy.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I have a few. They were the ones that are going to receive
Oh.
they're ER doctors, that they work in the hospital, and again, I didn't do their wedding,
Mm-hmm.
but they were client of mine because they ended up being models for me at a workshop that I did in New York. So,
That's funny.
but again, I came across, them because of the photo community. And there was several people that were like, that it all kind of ended up going to, this one hospital that I know which I wish we could do more, but,
Well, you're doing a
yeah,
lot just with what you're doing.
yeah,
So, well, thank you for talking to us about this.
absolutely.
If somebody needs to contact you regarding masks for anybody that's compromised in their family or themselves, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can send me an email directly, and it's Hiram, Hiram, at Geekoto, Geekoto.com.
Okay, that's great. Thank
That's
you
it.
so much for talking with me,
Thank you, Arlene.
and stay healthy and stay safe.
You too. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank
Thank you.
you.
All right.
Bye-bye.